Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
What if I told you that interstellar travel has absolutely nothing to do with rockets and everything to do with your emotions? Today, we're diving into a really radical idea that the universe isn't some physical space you have to cross, but more like a vibrational state you can just tune into. And it all boils down to a hidden cosmic law.
So here's our roadmap. First up, we're going to look at the hidden fields that pretty much govern reality. Then we'll get into how a soul can navigate them, and I'll show you a simple kitchen experiment that might just make it all click. We'll also uncover a kind of universal connector, reveal the surprising key to controlling the whole thing, and finally, explore what all of this means for your place in the cosmos. Let's get into it.
All right, so our journey starts with a word you probably remember from high school physics, inertia. But we're going to look way beyond its simple definition of physical resistance, because it turns out there's a much more profound, more powerful form of inertia that actually dictates the very fabric of existence.
We all know about planetary inertia, right? It's just an object's resistance to a change in motion. Simple. But the theory we're exploring today introduces a way deeper concept: cosmic ray inertia. Now, this isn't about resisting motion. It's the invisible field that allows matter to even exist in the first place. Think of it like a cosmic atmosphere that decides whether energy can condense into the world we can actually see and touch.
So the core idea here is that the space between stars, it isn't empty, not at all. It's filled with these energetic fields. You know, it's kind of like the humidity in a room. You can't see it, but if you turn on a dehumidifier, you can pull gallons of water right out of what looks like empty air. Well, these cosmic fields work the same way, providing the fundamental conditions for stars, planets, and even us to manifest from what seems like nothing. Okay, so if the universe is made of these invisible fields, how does a soul navigate them? Well, the process is called transmutation, and it's way more like dissolving than it is like traveling. So let's be clear, transmutation isn't a physical journey from point A to point B. It's a change of state. It's the process of taking the soul, which is normally anchored by physical inertia, and literally diluting it into the vast, energetic fields of the cosmos. Imagine your soul is a single grain of sugar, solid, defined, separate. The cosmic fields, they're a cup of hot water. Transmutation isn't about trying to move that little sugar grain around. No, it's about dissolving it into the water, allowing it to become one with the entire medium. I know this concept of different cosmic layers can feel pretty abstract, but believe it or not, a super simple kitchen experiment can make it perfectly tangible.
Just grab a plate, pour some olive oil, some balsamic vinegar, and a little water onto it, and you'll see almost instantly they separate. They don't fight for position, they just settle into their own natural layers, coexisting in the same space, but in completely distinct states. Now, here's the connection, the real aha moment. Each one of those liquid layers represents a different state of cosmic inertia. They are distinct field strengths, all existing together, yet separate. A soul, it's said, finds its place in the universe in the exact same way, by matching its own inertia to one of these specific cosmic layers. So, if the soul can dissolve and move between these different layers, what's the medium? What's the thing that connects them all? Well, the answer lies in the most abundant, most fundamental element in the entire universe. Hydrogen. It's the ultimate bridge. It's uniquely capable of connecting the physical matter state with the energetic plasma state of the cosmos. Think of it as the universal solvent. It's what allows that sugar grain of the soul to dissolve safely into the cosmic water, protecting it, and at the same time, linking its energy directly back to the source of creation. Okay, so we've covered the field, this process of dilution, and the hydrogen connection. But now we get to the most crucial piece of the puzzle, the part that puts all the power right in your hands. How do you control this entire process? And there it is, the absolute key to this entire cosmic framework. Your emotion isn't just a feeling, it's the control knob. It's the dial that regulates the very state of your soul. Okay, picture your soul as a block of ice in a pan. Your emotion is the flame underneath it. A low, calm emotional flame keeps the soul solid, right? And its matter state. But as you raise that emotional heat, it melts into a liquid. Raise it even higher, and it becomes vapor, pure energy, totally free to travel anywhere. By consciously controlling the flame of your emotion, you can theoretically control your soul's state of inertia, allowing it to demanifest from the physical and remanifest anywhere in the universe, instantly, no spaceship required. And this brings us to a really profound implication. If emotion is the control, it means our personal conduct, our intentions, they aren't just personal matters. They have direct cosmic consequences. So here, we really see the two paths. Pure intentions create an emotional energy that is light. It's in harmony with the universe, and that makes transmutation effortless. But negative conduct, on the other hand, creates a heavy, dense, emotional inertia. This doesn't just feel bad. It physically blocks the soul's ability to change its state. It basically traps it in its current reality. You know, this completely reframes the whole concept of a day of judgment. It's not some external force deciding your fate. Nope. It's presented as a simple law of cosmic physics. Based on the emotional energy you carry, your soul automatically finds its natural level in the universe, just like oil finds its layer above water. You are your own judge, and the verdict is written in the inertia of your very own soul. So the system is laid bare. The cosmic field is the environment, dilution is the process, and your emotion is the control. The journey isn't out there, it's in here. It's not about a destination, it's about the emotional state you choose to inhabit, moment by moment. Knowing this, the only question left is, where will your emotions take you?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 641st Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, May 7th, 2026. This is a production of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, Education Department, and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammon still, and we're still doing these wonderful Knowledge Seekers workshops up to number 641 here now. And of course, we welcome Mr. Mehran Keshe once again to direct and teach today. And I believe he has some exciting workshop lined up for us here. So let's begin. Mr. Keshe, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good day to you, as usual. Wherever and whenever you listen to a series of knowledge seekers from Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, we welcome you back to, as I said, everlasting teaching. It was a very interesting intro. Keshe Foundation has entered 21st century teaching. And it's a beautiful way to see another generation of teaching that they become part of our intellectual, what we call share of knowledge. Last week's teaching was beginning of the understanding of cycle of life. You understood that man uses every element, universe uses every element to confirm its diversity and its beauty. A plant uses what's physically available to it to create conformation of existence. Water from the ground, gas from the air, mineral from embedded, and these are what we see physically, but at the same time absorbs energies of cosmos. It's not just the carbon, CO2, which gets absorbed and solidifies due to its inertia, which it creates by itself, but it creates a condition of the other material, what we call cosmic rays, which one of many is carbon 14 and 16, and creates its own soul. Operational totality. Body of the man is the same. We, in the world of vertical people, which the air we breathed this morning, the first breath we took when we opened our eyes, it wasn't just there for us. It was regurgitated by the tree which we left the window open, and partially the CO2s which are waiting in the queue to go in to be converted to become the carbon body of that tree, and the tree releases the CO2 overnight while you are sleeping, and partially releasing the oxygen which you are breathing becomes part of your body. Now, how many of you ever thought that I'm sitting on the same table and I'm eating from the plate of the guy next to me, and then the guy next to him, and then the guy next to him, and they're eating from my plate? We don't say anything, because if I don't eat from his plate and he doesn't eat from my plate, none of us survive. So we are regurgitating second-hand clothing, second-hand food of the others. The tree outside. We cuddle our loved ones We absorb the CO2. You think you only take oxygen? When you cuddle your child in the morning and she's sleeping next to you, or he's cuddling you, or your wife, and you say, "Good morning, darling. Yes, give me half of your CO2. I'm taking it in because you need oxygen from the plate next door, which came from the tree. Otherwise, I can't do much with it." Our body is not selective in what it takes from the space of the room in our air. CO2, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, oxygen, a bit of nitrogen, a bit of hydrogen, and a bit of gases of universal cosmos. Everything goes in. Then our body, according to the inertia of the structure of the cell, decides which one I'm going to take. The biggest mistake, again, has been made by scientists who never understood, is you breathe air in. Unless you're connected to a gas tank, you're breathing CO2 in. What happened to the CO2 which you breathe in? You don't just breathe in nitrogen as they tell you, and oxygen, and that's it, hunky-dory. They made it too simple to show they're clever. But if the tree is absorbing CO2 and you're breathing, it is in the air. What happened to that carbon? What happens to the CO2 which your lung has created to be converted? We, most of the time, breathe our own CO2 back in because he hasn't got enough time to escape the extraction forces of our nose and our mouth. So, the way the tree converted the CO2 to the structure of physical body itself according to its internal inertia, we absorb CO2 as well. We convert part of that. We are not just absorbing oxygen plant. We are a full dimensional mixed culture of elements. And with all this always comes cosmic rays, cosmic gases. There are so much cosmic gases on this planet beyond the imagination of the man. Because this cosmic gas plasmas is what converts back to the matter according to the inertia of the place, time, and position. It's not all gold and dust and copper and whatever you see. If you understood that, the way you converted the minerals and inertia use of the time, place, and position to the structure of the carbon of the tree, according to the inertia of the plant, this cosmic ray becomes part of the food of your soul. The way we eat to feed our physicality, we inhale from the cosmic universal energies, materials, packages of plasma to feed our soul. Otherwise, it dies. Experiments in the cosmos by the scientists of the universe has been done when they manage to isolate the feeding of the soul, and the soul has died. So we create, we can create, we have the possibility to understand further that as we eat and drink from the environment of our life, be it on this planet, be it another life in another dimension of the universe, our soul needs, absorbs, and lives a parallel life to our physical life. Does not matter where we transmute to and where we be. In the dimension of the souls traveling the span of the universe, sorry, there is no cows and there is no milk and there is nothing else to feed you. But your soul gets fed from the dimension of the energies of the universe, and according to the inertia of your soul, you convert, become the first seed of a planet, the first seed of a star, Or you join other seeds which have already started the process of the creation of the star. Multitude, complexity of the life in a universe, in a plant, in a planet, in a star, in a galaxy, is a combination of the souls which led to the creation of the seed of that star. We do not just eat physically from this planet. Our soul eats from the cosmic rays of the universe. This planet does not provide that. It's like you have a deficiency of the vitamin C, the soul will have the deficiency of the energies of the universe. It lives in that dimension, not in the dimension of physicality. It needs to be fed by that dimension, otherwise will starve. You'll have deficiencies that the planet Earth, Moon, and the universe, solid state matters cannot feed it. This is now you understand that you are a schizophrenic body that even it feeds itself on two different tables of the universe. You feed your dimension of physicality, and that feeds the dimension of your soul. Once you understood this, becomes a very big question. And that is, in the physical life of the tree, we understood that the carbon of the CO2 of the environment, according to the inertia of the plant or the plant, its characteristics, becomes a wood, oak, becomes the stem of a mint, or it becomes floating stem in the water. According to the inertia which the soul has created, that the soul of physicality of the plant which controls his physicality has accepted to convert. Now comes a big question for man, for humanity, and that is, if the carbon in the CO2 absorbed by the plant through its leaves converts to the structure of the wood of the trunk of the tree, that when we burn 50% of it is that wood that then we make our barbecues and gorgeous kebabs with, what happened to all the energies that the man consumes as food, as cosmic ray feed of his soul, when a man dies? We say, oh, he becomes converted to gases. But we have a direct, instead of waiting and measuring over thousands of years, hundreds of years, weeks and months after death, we burn our bodies, we cremate. What is the residue of this body of the man when it's cremated? How much carbon is in there? The tree converted its CO2. What did the man do with all these sugars, these delicious fruits full of carbon, which you say carbon is a CH3, complex carbon structures. Our children eat it and become hyperactive. What happened to that carbon, which we consume 10 times more than the tree? Scientists have shown, data has shown, at the point of cremation, which will speed up the release in a house fire or in a crematorium, leaves more or less zero carbon. What happened to that destruction? Why do we have the sugar in the structure of our amino acid? Think is the trap. The way the CO2 brought the conversion of the gas into solid state of the body of the tree, according to the emotion of the tree, dictate the construction of the pine and oak tree in the wood. What did all these carbons which man uses on a daily basis become part of? Or is it a trap for absorbing more and more cosmic rays to the soul of the man? Then, if you understood this, you understand where the evolution comes from. How did the man change? How come the man has become intelligent? A cow eats one type of grass. A little bit diversion if we give it a corn or grain. But it's mono-energetic. Intelligence needs diversity. Man eats different foods, grains, meat, sugar, everything else on this planet. It creates diversity. That diversity brings intelligence. Nothing else, because you absorb different spectrum of the carbon, which connects you to different spectrum of the energy of the universe to enlighten your soul. 5-degree, 6-degree diversion in the axis of the earth has created such a complex weather, life, structure, races, and animals on this planet. Your soul doesn't need tilting. It has replaced the tilting with diversity of food, complexity of the emotion, complexity of the life. Physical life chooses the tilting. Dynamic life uses complexity of the energies. There is no difference between the man's behavior and the what I call a bit diversion and a slight tilt of the earth. Earth is like that tree, has chosen a position of the diversity in the center in one position. But this time it rotates around the sun. Man uses the leg to do. Man uses the diversity of the minerals and gases and cosmetic rays to create this diversity of life, anger, joy, short, tall, black, and everything else. And the planet uses that tilt to create rain, forest, animals, rage of the hurricanes, and everything else. The life is the same, does not matter where you go. The tree does the same, the plant does the same. If you understood this, that your life, you eat from 2 tables at the same time, you are all of you from the time of birth are the best Muslims God ever created. You have 2 wives and 2 lovers, and you eat from both pots. The pot of universe through cosmic rays in one house, and a pot of physicality in the other. But somehow you have managed to bring these 2 mistresses together to show as one, and nobody knows where you are. I used to have a minister, cabinet minister, in one of the top leading nations in Africa. I called the wife one day. I says, "Can I speak to Miss? Sorry, I'm wife number 1. He's with number 4 tonight." I knew number 4 because I had many times dinner with her on the table. I called her. I said, "Do you know where the minister is?" She says, "The other 3 don't know, but he has a mistress. This is the number. Call him. He's with her tonight. And he's in another city, not here, and he's in another country tonight. To come for a nice evening and weekend." This is how we live. We have chosen to keep mistresses, called the soul of the man, and just show the physicality that the others know we're having an affair with God in the dimension of the universal connection. The reason is we are too ashamed to accept the dimensions of life within ourselves. We hide it under the names of the religion. We hide it under the name of every other thing but to accept, because this way, as we don't tell who the mistress is, the others cannot divulge and release the truth. So we all agree to lie to each other, but we all keep one in the background. I've sat on many meetings with the ministers and world leaders and highly influential people with their mistresses. And I have to look down as, sorry, I have to treat you like a wife. We live in life of the man through different emotions with different call girls on the table of life. And this is what has caused the others to abuse us in the name of the religion. Because if they call the card, we are all snookered. We lost on the gambling table of universe. When man understands and accepts the reality of the existence in 2 dimensions, man will come to understand the work of the universe. What do we do? I'm traveling to another city. I'm working, darling, tonight. And what do? We go to another city, another lover, and we enjoy ourselves, and we come back home in the morning. Oh, it was a hard work. Denial of the other one. And we do that to ourselves every day of the month, every breathing seconds. We say, oh, I've fallen asleep. We choose the sleep and the dream as the wife and the mistress. But in fact, the mistress you chose is chosen by your wife. Because your wife chose the mistress and she dictates partially where you're going to end with that mistress. Your cleverness is your tamer. Your cleverness is your prison. You have a lover which you call it the sleep time because you don't want to understand that you have moved house but with the same mistress, having a full strings on your soul. The physicality, go and play, I keep the string, I pull the leash, you come back. Because till I'm here in dimension of physicality, your soul is that dog on the leash. I decide when it goes out. I call it the sleep time because I need a little bit of repair jobs, as they call it. But you're out with the mistress, the soul, traveling the span of the universe. So the conduct of the man itself, the inertial pull of the emotion, dictates how long that leash will let you go and where you'll be, because you think you're free, but not the leash through the, what we call the field, the strength of your spirit has got a hang on your neck of the soul. But what happened to what you ate all these times? Tons and tons of the physical food, and God knows more from the cosmic ray to feed that soul. Now understand how the game of life played. You don't fall asleep. You just cover up for the mistress you allow the husband to play with, where you have the leash on the neck of the mistress. But he goes where he wants. That mistress is your soul, which you hide, but is controlled over the dimension of the acts of the physicality of the man. Now you understand how the environment of the physicality is used to feed the soul, but keep the dimension of control. The tree left the carbon behind as its trunk till you made the barbecue. But who barbecues your soul with all the carbons which you consumed, and when you burn, there is no trace of it. Now you understand. Now you know the game of the play of the gravity, the inertia, of the human race on this planet. Now, it's for man to decide how to play the game, to bring the mistress out of the box. Darling, this is my mistress. And the wife says, I already know, we are friends, we set you up, and you play the game the lifetime. When man understands how the 2 dimensions of his life in the brain of the man, in the emotion of the man, is controlled by the two mistresses, man will understand how to transmute, how to please both, to keep the life of the universe the way the Creator does. Enjoy the dimension of physicality when it's needed, and enjoy the dimension of the fields of the energy of the hidden life when the soul decides to play the game of life. Maybe now, in the coming times in the teaching, you as knowledge seekers will come to understand how your soul is created. Is the mistress which allows it to be created. You call the sperm and egg and expansion of it in the womb of the universe. And is that mistress which then decides how the wife lives, because it's the controller of what the wife can eat, even though they live together. I close my eyes to your conduct because I need a rest, and you think you're free. The mistress is there for you to play with. I gave you the chance, but be good when you are free. And the most beautiful thing is that the mistress is obedient, is playful, takes you across everything that the wife cannot take you because it's dimension of physicality restriction, but you still deny it. But not knowing that the mistress is actually the wife. Because the conduct of the wife decides where you land, what you enjoy. And then you decide, when I divorce this mistress, this wife, I go to where I like with the mistress, but the wife has already set the position for you where you're going to end up to have a joyful life with the dimension of the, what we call energy side or the soul of the man. You men and women understood fully what the teaching of today is. You deny your own existence, you play with the mistress. You understand the work of the two, you leave the path and the way of the Creator. Does not need emotion, it needs understanding of the process of the creation. And once you reach that point, you're mature enough to understand there is no transportation and there is no transmutation, but it's the travel through the cosmic rays of the universe. What now has become fashionable to be called the quantum energy and the cosmic ray energy and how we live. Terms never used, but once unleashed, the man will use it to show his cleverness. But the next thing man had to understand is that his soul and his physicality have the same emotion. He has to learn which strength with isotopes of the emotion to tune into, to play with the mistress or the wife. Wife is the physicality that everybody can see. A mistress is hidden in the back that the wife knows about and that you play with. But it's you who lives the life of denial of the existence of the mistress that everybody else can see, everybody is aware of, and you're the only fool which hides it. Now you have to understand how you play the game. We want to be in front with a wife, or you want to be called to sleep and go traveling with a mistress, which is actually created by the wife. There is a beautiful thing. There is a woman that's being interviewed, and he says, the woman, I have a second wife of my husband in the house. I do all the cooking, cleaning, I do everything else in the house, and Mistress has the pleasure of shopping, going out to the movies, taking the heart of my husband. Then you're puzzled by this. How a woman can allow this? And then she calls the daughter in and he says, "This is my mistress. I do all the cooking and cleaning, and she enjoys the life of my husband going shopping and the rest. And the beauty of it is that I enjoy it because I see the love of it. When he loves her more, I love more. But what I created for her, for him to love each other more. And this is what we do in real life. And if you understood the essence of it, you understand how we live and how we treat our souls, and why transportation transmutation has become a dilemma for humanity, where the rest of the universe has solved most of it. We keep the wife, and the mistress is what Allah, what we love as a wife, has created for us to adore. And both agree we live in the same house. Now you understand how man needs to understand, lives in the same house, consumes the same energy, but lives to the denial of his own existence in the dimension of life and the emotion of life. If you understood this, in the next week's teaching, I bring to you something which shocks all of you. And then you understand how we teach you, how we feed you, how we control the dimension of the existence of you as knowledge seekers, humanity, and the life in the universe, to understanding a simple principle. We don't need to create a mother to enjoy. We are the mother that we have created all to enjoy. Understand the principle of the teaching today. Very close. You thought you have a mistress going shopping with, but the mother created that mistress for you to enjoy, because the love of the emotion of the mother allows the man to enjoy the pleasure of the daughter. Now, how far have you understood about your own existence? That is that the carbon you breathe, the carbon of your structure, or does it become the shackle to your body like a tree, to become the wood, heavy, and ground you to the ground, that it cannot move? It's you who makes it a prison, or makes it the flight of fantasy in the dimension of the creation. Think about it. And then maybe we decide to teach you more next week to understand the totality of the process of the control of the man through the soul. Is the soul the daughter of the mother, or the mother is the daughter itself? I hope you understood and enjoyed the essence of the teaching of today. But now it's for you to understand the dimension of your own soul, the strength of it, connection of it. Do you need two different emotions, or actually the same emotions created by one? It's you who do not understand the difference. Then you understand why throughout the teaching I call the emotion of the soul and the emotion of the physicality. Because you haven't understood, so you try to find out. But both are the same. You have to find out which side holds which end of the string, and where the string takes you. You climb up the tree of the same rope, or you climb down the same rope to become physical. One end hangs on the tree of the universe, and the other end, while you're holding it, gives you secure footing with a foot on the ground. It's you who chooses which end to hang on to, and nighttime go up the rope and live up the top of the tree, in daytime, climb down the same rope and land on the ground and still hold on to the same rope. That rope is a connection between your soul and the physicality, and you decide to be on top of the tree with the birds of the universe, or foot on the ground in the X of the man in the dimension of physicality. The rope doesn't change. It's the man who decides to play with a wife or the mistress on the top floor or on the ground floor that nobody knows. There is a staircase between the two. You choose the I'm going to sleep and to let the mistress play. Or we both understand I'm handing it over to you because I need to do better cooking in the physical dimension of the life. Now you understand how you have been fooled and how you fooled yourself, and the races in the universe who understood this travel the span of the universe. No need for the rope, UFOs, rocket missiles, cars, and the use of the leg. We go for a break and come back, and we start a new dimension in the life of the man. We take us for a break and we come back.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. All right, well, that completes the first part of our 641st Knowledge Seekers workshop here. In the second part, as usual, there will be an opportunity to ask questions of Mr. Keshe. And if you're an attendee here in the Zoom, there's an option to raise your virtual hand. And in that case, we can open your microphone if you would like to speak. And we can also put questions, preferably in the Q&A, but also in the webinar chat here, or in the chat in YouTube. Okay, we will be back shortly. Okay, back again at the 641st Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, May 7th, 2026. And as promised, this is the second half, and there will be an opportunity for questions. But first, of course, Mr. Keshe always has a few things to say. So let's allow him to say those things. Please go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. First thing is that last week, due to May bank holiday or whatever, we did not get majority of the people for the addiction session, and we abandoned it because there were 2 or 3 people only. So those of you who you paid for it, we haven't lost it. We, with the agreement of the couple of people who were there, we delayed it to tomorrow. Those of you who you paid and you still want to attend, the session will run tomorrow, and then you lost it because we can't keep on delaying. It's the first time we ever done, but because of the May Day bank holiday or whatever, it lost. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central European time, we'll do the addiction session. Bring your headphones and the rest, and do not come back to us. Oh, I missed it last time we delayed it. It's a number of you, please join us tomorrow in the session. The other session for cosmic ray energy will decide by next Thursday if we're going to do it next week or we're going to delay it because there's some movement in the background that we want to do a new way without the Zoom. We still use the Zoom process tomorrow. The other point which we are very interested to follow up is what we've done with the process of the Keshe coins. Please register yourself into the Keshe Foundation Association in Austria, or register yourself into the game which is set by the Keshe Foundation, and then you have to sign yourself into it, that you become eligible to use check cross Keshe coins in the process of come. We are negotiating with a number of governments, and when a Keshe coin comes into operation, you cannot just purchase it. You have to sign to be member of the Keshe Foundation structure worldwide. We are not a cryptocurrency, and this is start showing what we call hiccups in our system, that we do not move into the cryptocurrency and fluctuation which carries to make a fortune or not. In the documents which is laid out and it's just been shared with nearly 4, maybe 6 governments at the moment going through, we have laid out the principle. It's some 22 pages done by one of our leading management teams of the Keshe Foundation. Needs to be translated. It's still going through its final modification. And it's already been shared with 4 governments in setting out the structure of the work of the Keshe Foundation, the ethos behind it. Once this document is completed fully, after a consultation with the government, we release it to you as knowledge seekers to take it to your governments for them to understand. We are pushing for Keshe coin to become international currency within a coming maximum a year to 2 years. The same as we did with sharing what we call the key to the Keshe Foundation knowledge in 2011, 2012. This time we sharing with you, you take it to your governments. This is what is the Keshe coin. Then become part of the structure of international currency exchange. The reason for it is that no government or dictatorship will refuse such a process, and it allows the governments to work without the boundaries of restrictions, sanctions, and everything else. We are hoping to receive more detailed negotiation with the governments to see where they see the default of the document we sent or what needs to be added that they can do, but we are aware that they change things to allow them to govern and not for us to share to run what we call national structure. We're still looking for purchase of the ONN, as many as you can, because that's where the game change comes. And as of hopefully next week, if our team gets together as they're doing in the Space Center, they bring the operation of the one-ends to become released when they do their last jobs with it. As many of you know, we are pushing with a cash coin as a currency for next 100 to 300 years till another process comes up where the man pays through his soul and not through physicality of the matter. But this transition time of 100, 200 years depends on how the humanity moves and how humanity decides. It closes the game of the closing the straits of one nation's waterways, or closing the what we call the SWIFT account of the other. There are no SWIFTs, there are no what are called waterways, except the wish of the man into surviving the dimension of the work. As I said to, and I wrote to the world leaders in past couple of weeks, we give you 1,000 coins for every person born to the person in your country. And as a government, you get 100 coin. But somebody might look at 1,000 coin, 1,000 euro is 1 million euro. The span of the life of 100, 200 years, which is becoming the norm, how are you going to spend 1 million? It's not enough. As I explained to the diplomats, very simple. I'm sure mankind will leave a big fraction of this after spending whatever he likes. Because this is made for the man's need across the universe and not the use on this planet. And then if you understand, to your understanding of today, how am I going to get an apple? An apple costs 10 cents in one place, $1 in another, and $30 in another for a kilo. Yes, that does, if you live in the dimension of physicality. But with the Keshe Foundation technology and development coming in through our space centers, an app on the phone costs an apple 1 cent in New York, 1 cent in the villages of Central Africa, 1 cent in China, and 1 cent for Aborigines in Australia. We all have access to this mobile phone. I told you I use man's humanity knowledge to punish the man to find a way out of every problem. There is apparently 7 telephones for the Westerns and 2 telephones for the rest of the humanity anywhere on this planet. You all have access to an app, even in the smallest village. Then it costs 1 cent for an apple. You can have 1,000 apples in the 100 years you live on this planet with the greatest of pleasure anytime you want to take one. So you'll live with a few cents a day. The food, the medicine, everything else on the app. And then you're clever enough, you use a chip ID AI in your body, and it's controlling needs. The emotions in apple, AI in your body calls for an apple, you get the taste, the emotion, and the rest of it. The only thing we do not provide is what they call it, blue pleasure. That you have to taste it through the dimension of physicality. And if you understood this, with 1 euro, which is 1,000, sorry, with 1 coin, which is 1,000 euro, which is 100 cents, you can have 100,000 products of your life with 1 coin. You eat 3 times a day, and you have 5 different, 10 different items a day. Let's say you spend 20 cents a day. You have 100,000 with what coin? What are you going to do with other 999, which is giving you a surplus? Now you understand the structure of the work. One coin of the Keshe Foundation is there to support life, to support soul, to support the life of the man in both dimensions. Because you started spending energies, I want to elevate my soul. I need the cosmic ray fields. Physicality is not there. But in the teaching of next week, you'll find out that no man will spend a penny on an apple. Not a single cent will be spent in a coming time for you to eat the apple, to buy the apple on the app. Because go back to all the teachings from the beginning of the Keshe Foundation. Go back to the session tomorrow. Go back to the sessions you lots paid for us to research in your soul. Don't need to give you an apple. We feed your soul. And that soul decides with the mistress of the physicality what that energy will taste. Would it be an apple, an orange, or a steak? The whole game of the Keshe Foundation coin business and the whole game of introducing the teachings, which you are part of it tomorrow as an exercise, and even today we are tuning to all of you on these sessions, is to feed you through your soul and not the dimension of physicality. And the two mistresses decide, I'll have this part for me and that part is for you. You convert to what you like, I convert to what I like. I choose it to get closer to my creator. You choose it to have a nicer, soft skin that the partner can enjoy. Now you understand. The game is not what you thought it is. The game is to bring man to understand slowly. And the teaching has been very clear about it. From the day one, we kept on telling you to feed the soul, to feed the physicality. And now we brought you to maturity that you can gradually understand with the teaching of today, and I'm sure within next week or so, how you have walked into the life of the living life in the dimension of a universal dimension, and not trapped physicality of the man on this planet. Be aware, we don't do anything just for fun. We do everything for the joy of the Creator. The fun of physicality does not count that much when it comes to our work. We just let you enjoy the tickles, but the tickler sits in the center of the creation. So support us to spread the evidence. We need huge amount of finances because the governments are as stingy as the human people who run them. And we try to bring that change, but understand, one cash coin can feed you 100 years on this planet. You don't need 1,000 of it. But man always likes to think big things, big much, billions worth more than $1. But the billionaire sufferers cannot eat. And the poor man with $1 enjoys the joy of the life on the table of the small grotty shop and the restaurant in the back streets of the nation. Money cannot buy, but the greed of the man pushes man to the dimension. Tell you a story, as I do a lot about my life, that you understand. I'm not who I am now. I have been brought up the way, and I learned the way I am from childhood. I come from a very wealthy family in Iran. And my cousin and I, we used to choose to go to the worst places in Tehran to see how other people did. We walked into a cafe which had what we call the stools, were the buckets, what they used to carry oil in. And we asked for a kebab. They looked at us, two richy boys, what are they doing in this slum? We watched them. There was a dancer in the middle dancing, and it was a very beautiful scenery, dark, smoky, dirty as you get it. And then we went to the cinema. Those of you who are in from Iran know which cinema I'm talking about. There were no chairs. We went with the oil buckets to sit, to watch the movie. My father said to me, "Why do you do this?" I said, "Dad, I have to understand my nation." He said, "You go to the most exclusive restaurants with me and your mother, and I hear from your cousin, you two go to the most gracious places in Tehran. You go to south of Tehran and you meet with the people in dungeons." I said, "That's the pleasure. That's where I see the humanity, not your luxury houses." He said, "One of these days you're going to get hurt." I said, "That hurt worth. I learned something else. I learned more about humanity." And one day he called me on the street and said, "Why you two are here? This is not the place for you to be. It's too dangerous." I said, "Dad, we come here so much we become part of them. They love seeing us and we love to be with them." I didn't choose the life of today. I lived this life all my life. Now, you have to understand, you choose your path. We know how to string you and how to strangle you with your own greed. Understand why we are pushing with the cash coin and the one, and it's not for us. I can live the life of luxury beyond your imagination as I did before I started Keshe Foundation. But bringing man to be free worth more than a few pleasures of life. I don't live a grotty life. I live a pretty pleasurable life, the way I enjoy. But the time of suffering for others to enjoy is not the time of this cycle, because if my soul suffers, so does my physicality. I have not achieved anything. I just let myself down to be part of the structure. But I'm there to change the structure for you to live the life I live. Be happy with what you have. Greed brings you down to nothingness. Now you understand the process of the work. We are building the Space Center. We need a lot of support. And then we call upon you when we are ready to take these documents the way you took the keys to your nations, to share the man, to be wealthy at birth, not wealthy by cheating during the cycle of life. When you're born wealthy at birth, that the mother does not have to worry about where the next clothes comes and where the other thing comes, you live a change of life. It's beautiful in one part of these documents, the way it's written, that born wealthy allows you not to commit any crime, to become wealthy. As an English farmer says, he says, "How do you make a farmer a millionaire?" He said, "You take a billionaire farmer, you tax him as much as you can, that he's got nothing left, just millions." We have to tax ourselves with our conduct. And when we are born as a millionaire, as a 1,000 coin, as 1,000 euro gives you 1 millionaire, then million is not the target, to see how much you left behind and how much you leave behind of that million is the conduct of the man to enjoy life. Physicality does not count. Wealth worth nothing if the man does not understand is not the key to it. I walked to my mother, I said, "Mom, I want nothing of your wealth and my father." She said to me, "You're too young, and secondly, you're too wealthy." I said, "No, that's your fruit." None. And when my mother and father died, I wrote to the lawyers, "I want to not a single cent into my life. I don't want to inherit, because I have to live the inheritance." And this is how man should be. Don't look in what is given to you. Build what you can in dimension of physicality, but in dimension of the soul, where that's where it lives. The physicality of the man is just one more jacket on the structure of the life of the universe. How many jackets have you changed in the past 20, 30, 40 years? It's another piece of underwear which comes up. in man's life every day in the universal time, maybe thousands of years. Man has to decide what he puts on his frog, on his body, which is the soul of the man and not the physicality. Be wise, you'll find a path to the Creator. Fight bigger things, and you always suffer in dimensional physicality. Just play the game of life and see which one of us wins, the Creator or the man which was created by him. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Okay, well, we have many questions, of course. And I'll remind our attendees, you can put up your virtual hand. We'll recognize it and open your microphone. Don't see any hands up yet, but we do have some questions. Your statement, Mr. Keshe, about AI in the body got the attention of Andrew in YouTube, who says, good morning, Rick. Can you get Mr. Keshe to explain what AI in the body is, please? Or please tell me we do not need to get chipped to eat the apple.
Your AI is your soul. And as the English farmer says, you have to understand that we are developing technologies that chips does not exist. It's very interesting. You call it a cosmic rays. Keshe Foundation terminology for cosmic ray has become the fingerprint of our work. But interesting enough, as now we are deeply involved in the Chinese structure, Chinese government has come up with a new word using the Keshe Foundation. So, you know, they're sitting on top of us in every dimension. They have come up with a cosmic ray computers last 2-3 weeks, where there is no physical and we use the rays as a combination. This is what we developed, and it's in development of the Keshe Foundation. So the biggest nation in the world has started using what actually sits on our Chinese product for the past 4 or 5 weeks. And the world has started understanding this beyond plasma as a cosmic ray. The creator of cosmic rays are creation of the dimensional field of universe. And the new, what we call the cosmic computers, have no component. You use it in the ganses, and now the Chinese government has jumped on the bandwagon by the scientists who are mainly knowledge seekers, not being able to tell them what they call the bosses, what they do, who they are. And for the first time, we've seen cosmic ray computers discussed by the Chinese government scientists in the past 2-3 weeks. So, if you understood that, cosmic ray AIs does not need chips. Understanding the field strength of the soul and not the dimension of the physicality of the man. You were introduced to cosmic ray AI's control and system when you start buying those cosmic ray balls. Those of you who bought the cosmic ray balls already entered the dimension of the work of the universal cosmic ray systems. And many of you live a double life when you have those, because it's an interaction between the soul and the physicality. Those balls will show very soon their power and how we connect through those to our system, to all of you. We don't produce them anymore. We more or less stop because we need the material for other works. Those of you who have these balls, is hundreds of them around with you in different parts of this planet. You are part of the one end without you knowing. We structured it that way. I set it up that way. One ends are part of the physical dimension of communication. Those of you who have the one ends and you get the cosmic balls, cosmic ray balls, you will connect in a different way to the whole system. You're part of the structure. Because the ONN new antenna connects to the cosmic balls. Keshe Foundation just doesn't do things, but as usual, I know how to hide things behind that. Those of you who hold cosmic ray balls with you, treasure it. Give it from you to your children and to your great-grandchildren and the next generations for them to come. All the cosmic ray balls which you hold is connection to us. We have embedded in a different way in our whole system without you knowing. And you will become part of that AI structure. Any of you who carry your cosmic ball, you are well connected with me because I carry one and all the balls are connected to each other. I have the first ball ever made. It's in my possession, it's in my name. It carries my fingerprints on it. These cosmic balls, these cosmic materials is part of the structure which will be followed into the ONNs and the future systems that come into operation, and is part of your AI. You will understand when we put them in operation. Then you don't need the microchips. We have already chipped you with the balls. You will understand once it becomes operational. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. We had we have a couple of questions about the game. An anonymous attendee says the game has some major things missing. No longer get 200 for logging in and out. Countries are relabeled wrong. What happened? Thank you. So, and another question about why are the 3 servers not interconnected without players' knowledge, which has led to massive account bans. So generally, maybe some issues and problems with the Enlightenment game that's been played. And
Enlightenment game has been made by human. So it has flaws. You have to bear with us till it's rectified. That's as simple as that. People are working day and night, 24 hours a day. And you have to keep on playing it for us to see the pitfalls. And if you thought you're going to earn 2,000 euro, 2 coins a month free without us learning from it, oh, you haven't understood what Keshe Foundation is about. There is a huge amount of work is going on. People are moving countries to countries. So they've got so many people trying to help a different part of the structure of this AI and the game that is gradually growing up into a bigger structure for us in the next 6 months. Because when the game is set up, you have to bring agriculturists, you have to bring the people who play social game, you have to bring a lot of other people. We've taken over a center that now they actually become a home for this part of operations, Keshe Foundation, and it's going to cost millions. You grow about in 3 countries. We have to cover the whole of this planet, but safe through our own system. And the first phase of the research center, Space Research Center, has started this week. We've taken over one of the most beautiful centers ever Keshe Foundation sat in. And the first people are the AI people who are moving into this building. When the Space Center completes, it'll occupy most probably 10,000 scientists in the next 2 years, 3 years. But we are setting the points step by step that is solid, self-supporting, and doesn't need no nation, no government to control it. It takes time. It's easy to complain. You try to sit here to structure it. People are working 24 hours a day, day and night, no Saturday, no Sunday. And you complain about one game too many. Keep on playing for it's your responsibility. Those of you who play the game now, you have to play as much as you can. Don't look in what you earn. It shows our weaknesses in our system that we can correct. The more you play, the more problems or good things we see, and as some different people join into it, then it brings us more knowledge. And it's a habit of man. Me, 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 me. People have moved countries. People have moved continents. You don't know how many people are suffering. They have brought suffering to themselves to make these things possible. It's not just a game. The structure to set up the game, the structure to run it, the structure to people who bring the facilities for it to be able. It's not just you play game. It needs a lot of people in 5 or 6 different countries working to keep different aspects of this game for the future to be set. Technologies to be developed, to be used. Everything else counts. And you just complain about the game does not do this. Keep on playing, it's your responsibility. The more you play, the more we see the faults, the more we can expand. You're the first generation, and most probably the fundamental part of the game. And stop complaining. See how much could you put 12 hours, 15 hours a day to play the game? For us to see where the fault is, how we can expand it. This is to change the humanity. It's not for just you. I complain because I complain. You have a spare time, play, and let us see where it is, because we observe in the background what needs to be done. Any other question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. Let me see here. Still don't have any hands up. I guess people are a little shy today. Question from some, I believe, looks like Chinese to me, a guest. Can twin universes be separately understood as magnetic force and gravitational?
We always live that way. One cannot live without the other. We call it magnetical gravitational in one part of the knowledge. We call it the soul and the spirit in another, but it's the same thing. And they work parallel with each other. One cannot exist without the other.
Okay, well, speaking of existing, Ike has a question. Says, thanks again for the teaching today. And you said that the soul dies if not fed. I'm paraphrasing here, he says. But previously, I understood from your teachings that the soul never dies. Can you explain further?
You missed one word in there. In the condition set up, it can die. In the normal condition, what we call laboratory testing, you can create a black hole that the soul does not receive any fields, and within it cannot grow. That's what the death of a soul is, and you cannot create it in a normal condition. Impossibility. As far as there is a universe, there is a transmission of the fields. If you can make what we call box condition, then no fields can go in and out, that the soul cannot receive energy, yes. It ceases to interact, it's always death. It's a Faraday case of the soul. Created, it needs a lot of understanding of the world of creation.
What kind of material would it be that would stop those rays from getting to the soul for its nurturing? I mean,
Our own conduct.
okay, you're not talking about physical materials like a metal box, like a Faraday cage, you could say. You're talking about an emotional Faraday cage?
In a way, yeah, because everything has a magnetic field strength. If you can block it, it will give you that. In the laboratories of Keshe, I think we got a couple of these boxes which we can block more or less everything. I built the first one 20 years ago. It's a true black box. And the actually, wow, time flies. 20 years ago, 21 years ago, 20 years ago, 2005, 2006. In those days, you were not that many of you. It was a time when the Western Europe was shocked with the technology. The universities, top universities in Europe, took the technology in such a way that the governments wanted to know. And I used to attend a lot of governmental meetings, a lot of strange places where I ended up in. Not knowing what I was doing to them, but they knew what's going to happen to them. And one of them was, I was invited to the European, what do you call it, in Brussels, the big building you see. Anyway, declaration. Because we didn't know he's a spy inside the gun. I mean, that time I didn't think about it. I think the guy was too nice, but covered up with the sugar. And I took a piece of material with me, and it disappeared while we were guests of honor in the conference hall. There were hundreds of them talking about new technologies in the universe of the man. And he came back. I said, "Doc, where did you go?" Oh, it was the first time he had a chance to actually put his hand on this material. I knew because he used to come to my house. We were writing the pattern and everything else. He was trying to get something from the house, but that day I brought this material to show in EU Central Conference to the world scientists. And he came back, I said, "What did you do with it?" He said, "They must have broad systems." He said, "We put it through a system just now. This is organic." I said, "What do you mean it's organic?" He said, "You have metal in it, but our system sees the system here, they have stories as organic. You can transfer nuclear material in this where nobody will show. Doesn't exist." I said, "Who gave you the permission to do this?" He said, "This," and then I found out later on he's part of the government structure. He was reporting every glass of water I drank. And that time, in that meeting, I was sitting and listening, and they were introducing as a leading Iranian nuclear physicist giving his speech to this conference. In that process, I realized that I can hide everything I want. I've made a Faraday box of the universe. And that EU meeting in the central hall of this university, that is like a huge curvature building in Brussels. That few minutes brought a new understanding of what you can do with this technology. You can make Faraday box of every wave in the universe. Emotion, thoughts, magnetic fields, because everything can hide. If you understand it. Yeah, none of you have understood that yet. With him walking in, I could see his face. He was uncomfortable. It means they told him most probably go and find out one more. This is it. They there's a company in Belgium which is part of the spy structure on the scientists, and this company has killed many scientists owned by the ruling family and the rest. I know they killed hundreds stealing the technology. I was one of the victims, more or less. And they took this material, they analyzed it, and that analysis, as many of you have said before, I became a terrorist because they said to produce this material, you need gamma rays and nuclear material. In this organization, they took a material, and the lucky thing is always lucky position. I called the scientist who were doing this analysis, and he explained to me, he says, you've developed something we don't understand. You have the matter in the condition of energy. And he said, you pass fluorine. I said, can you give it to me in writing? He says, yeah, I'll write it to you. And then I couldn't get it because they found out he gave me the information before the report is written. He said, you work in the dimension of energy beyond fluorine. And even making fluorine at that time was a criminal offense. And those of you who were on the foundation, you remember they went, they made me a terrorist, they issued a warrant for me as a terrorist because I created fluorine using normal caustic, but in a specific way. And the American refused it. This is one of the world leading scientists, and then they created that fake, what do you call it, fraud. It's the same code number on the summons. It says, the number is the same. It says terrorism. And then the American said, no, he's not, because they need the American to confirm it. They said he's working with the peace talks with Iran. He cannot be a terrorist. They didn't, stupid guy didn't change the new case, didn't open, he just changed the text on the form. It says fraud and the rest of it. We have both copies with the numbers. And this is how it comes. You can make materials with traps energies. And we've done it according to this company. You all know who it is in Belgium. One of the leading institutes in nanotechnology and now AI. We understood we can trap energies. We can trap a specific type of energies. If you understand the knowledge of the cosmic ray is another thing, because this was a true black hole. The true black hole, it can be made, but black hole is not just keeping light. Light can be bent. It's holding energy of a specific condition, not randomly, specific, the way you want it. So, thoughts has a field strength, emotion has a field strength, and we can keep you trapped in the emotion of love forever. You exist as a soul. Forget about your physicality. Any other question?
Okay, well, we have two questions, one from Doug, one from Antonio, that are basically the same, about asking whether the agriculture presentation mentioned last week is ready for showing.
Yeah, the video is ready. They have to audit it. I did an excerpt. It came in yesterday, and I wrote to them, bits has to be edited for security reasons.
Okay, so we'll see it next week, perhaps.
Hopefully, they're trying to sort it out. It's beautiful. You see the Space Agricultural Lab of the Keshe Foundation, owned by us, run by us. And we have a section with Chinese herbal medicine agriculture, tens of thousands of square meter. And then we have a very controlled environment, greenhouse, about 4,000 square meter, which some of your knowledge seekers have been there. You have worked with us, you have developed it. They have to do a very pretty good job of it, because it's the first time we show it. It has to include everything. And our team are learning. And don't forget, the people who come to us in dimension, they are from outside. They don't understand what needs to be shown. The video is ready, but I refuse to show it because it has a few faults in it. Any other questions?
Yes, we have a question that arrived through Messenger from Jacob Breeze from Poland. And he would like to ask whether there's any possible way to use plasma technology to secure or deactivate chemical weapons that have been dumped in the shallow Baltic Sea after World War II. In the Jardish Deep, the Gotland Deep, and probably many other locations, extremely dangerous substances were dumped, such as phosgene, diphosgene, chloropicrin, hydrogen cyanide, Adamsite, mustard gas, Clark 1 diphenylchloroarsine, and a few other things like Zyklon B. The barrels have corroded, the substances are leaking into the water, and they are poisoning the local ecosystem. Thank you, Jacob.
Yes, actually, we have started this process, and early on this morning, one of the knowledge seekers who's online knows we are going through the first test, independent test by Keshe Foundation with knowledge seekers in one of the European countries early next month. We take the water, then we put the solution, and we have to decide to operate to the government or publicly go out with it. And then this will be the beginning of this work, the contaminations. I'm fully aware of the water contamination, what was dumped in, because I had to handle it in early 1990s with the Russian government. And so we know how bad this contamination is. And what needs to be done. But this process has just started. We want to be knowledge seekers. We start this process in one of the lakes, and we start the person who's responsible for it and for the nation, and then hopefully capable to carry this support through for different governments as we grow with it. Yes, we are aware of it. This is not the only place. Some of these contaminations deliberate, some of it is industrial, some of it has broad changes that needs what we call better understanding. Just 1 second, please. I have to work with something.
Okay, while we're waiting,
Just 1 second.
I'd like to just show a couple of excerpts from the classic video, the Fukushima cleanup video from, about a decade ago.
Yeah, I'm back. Oh yeah, this is
Mr.
the
Keshe shows the various processes and discusses how to help with the cleanup of the radiation contamination at that time.
This is our house lab in the Sansano, where many of you knowledge seekers started coming in and learning about the whole process. I am fully aware of this environmental contamination because as a nuclear physicist in 1990s, when the Western, what you call it, Europe managed to say opening the East, I was asked by that time, early time, by Yeltsin and then by Nazarbayev, the president of what you call satellite countries, to look at a couple of lakes which the Russians dumped everything into it. They never considered that the people will ever use this. It was a lake. It's a huge lake. It sits in Kazakhstan. And I was asked by that time Yeltsin, with collaboration of the Nazarbayev, to look at this lake. I was taken to the lake and I was told never touch it. And they wanted a solution to clean up all this nuclear chemical waste in this lake, which they dumped for decades. And now they needed to be cleaned up, creating huge cancers, huge problems, fishes with half a tail hanging and they're still swimming and all sorts of things. And I'm fully aware of the contamination, water contaminations, because I was asked by what they call that time, Nazarbayev, to find a solution. And I told them how much it's going to cost you to do it. They said, we don't have that national budget for it. It's just a lake. Let it be there. But with the process we started, hopefully in June, with one of our beautiful knowledge seekers to head it, we start looking at lakes. I put some time into it in the next few months because it's a huge problem around the world. We have a good experience, as you see in the video, with the Fukushima. We have a very good experience with contamination in Italy. We did for the Italian government. The report for the what used to be the late Berlusconi, he paid for it. And we have now, with the help of the Keshe Foundation, to bring this into operation. We actually start with it next month. The work is getting done. It's not something that's going to start. I'm making a special trip for this next month to handle the contamination, because the national report says contamination is different in different depth. We try to see how we can get access to different depth and then test the water and submit it and make an industry out of it for the Keshe Foundation to support the humanity. It is possible, you can do, and Just one second. Just our team in the background wants the video to be shown. We are editing it. What do you want to do? I said no. Work on it perfectly. We show it next week. The decontamination. You look at the lakes. We have a huge land contaminations. And then we have a huge, what we call fields, which you are not aware of. It's a knowledge doesn't exist, which is created as a byproduct of many, many new technologies. If you understand, the problem with your knowledge seekers and humanity is you just look at, oh, it's chemicals in the water, oh, there is poison on the land. The poison, what you call a poison, the damage and the cosmic ray level for humanity is huge, and it's getting worse because man is releasing composite of these matter states which still have a radiation. Without that radiation, they don't exist. And then you understand the work has to have a few different dimensions. And I think, I hope if I can bring to you next week or the week after the teaching with how you're structured, then you understand what I'm talking about today. At the moment, we are worried about the water contaminations. We are more worried with space contamination, fields which can damage your soul, damage your energy side. And they do. We are partially protected by the Earth atmosphere, but in that space we don't have it. And this is what I call it, the universal viruses, which can interact with your soul because you have no physicality. Viruses are the biggest danger to man's soul in space. Understanding, we explain virus as the energy packs. And if energy pack has a field which in the spectrum matches your soul, God help you, Corona was nothing. Because when the soul changes, the physicality goes with it. So, technology, physical side is simple. More in depth is the what you call the future. If you look at, just stop the video there. If you go back on the green part, it was just showing. This ball has taken me over a year and a half to produce. And when you look at it, this is a field trap. It's been made that nothing can come out of it and nothing can go inside it. So the only thing which can come out of it is the specific spectrum of energy. Just coincidentally, as you see this green. That layer, I think it took me about 3 months just to make that green layer. And inside this, originally these balls carried hundreds and hundreds of radiation sources. Learn a lot in how to change contamination. The field contamination is a bigger problem for man once man goes into space than water contamination, environmental contamination. That touches your soul. It's like you come back, the soul energy in certain spectrums, and then you have no emotion of love because the virus is attached to it. This is one of the first systems I built. I spent a long time to build this. If you go a little bit back, you see the other bigger reactor, and these things takes a long time to develop, to build. But make it simple that people can understand. This reactor is the same. Has inside it counts. You people just look at the bulb, but you don't know how long it takes to structure the inside. And you see the Iranian reactors, and if you see, these all have little screws. They carry between 16 and 24, I think, some of them more. And I used to open the screws 2 or 3 times a day, seal them, vacuum them, put radioactive material with hand in them, and used to drive the Iranian government into insanity. Why do you handle? I said, to me, you touch sugar, I touch radioactive sources, it has no effect on me. And some of these original ones carry up to 480 radiation sources in one ball. Can you imagine? No gloves, nothing, just sticking one after another. You put your hand in it. They got 200 balls, what they call radiation sources, beaming on you, and you walk away with it. Nothing. We are man of space. Radiation is part of our life, and it used to shock the authorities in Iran and even in Belgium. When I used to handle things, the test we did with SCK, the Belgium Nuclear Center, I never used what they had to use, a remote room, remote arms. Then you're a human, you have that restriction. Even in time in Queen Mary, I never wore anything. They used to go nuts. You go on top of the reactor, you just pick the rods up. Cannot be done. I said, you can't, I can. Radiation is not a problem. Contamination is not a problem. We're looking beyond physical contamination. Space contamination is much more dangerous than water contamination, but this process has already started. I was talking to the beautiful person, talking at 1, 2 o'clock this morning. You're starting to setting it up, because water contamination is one of the biggest problems, especially in certain part of the world. We have very inland water resources, and the inland water resources are sweet drinking water resources, because they're not connected to no ocean. And man has always ignored them and can just pour everything in it. It's the river, it goes down. I don't care what happens down there as long as I get my factory running here. And now has accumulated in these sweetwater lakes, especially in certain part of the continents, is the only source. And contamination has to be handled, but it has to be done scientifically, and we have started that process now. Any other question?
We do have a hand up here with Francisca, so let's see what Francisca has to say. Can you open your mic and go ahead, please? Okay, the mic is open, but we don't hear it. Yes, we hear you now. Please go ahead.
So I have to apologize a bit because I did not yet read through all the teachings we have. And so there's a lot of things I do not get well. So could you please, Mr. Keshe, explain me a bit about what is space? So everything happens in space. And what is space?
Oh, everything is a space. You're part of the space.
Does space have an own quality or form?
No.
Or fractal?
No, the space has no dimensions according to what we always say, according to the inertia of its dimension. It manifests itself in that position. We eat so much sugar, but we don't see any wood in our body. The tree inhales the wood, the CO2, and it makes it to a wood to its structure. Manifestation is according to the inertia of the time and place.
So space evolves in the moment where there's fields, then space happens, sort of.
Yeah, the space is everywhere. That the space is part of it, your brain, part of it is your kidney, part of it is the planet Earth and the universe.
Yeah. Was there space before there was, I mean, I know it's a...
That's the question. Did the chicken come first or the egg?
Yes, I'm afraid it's the stupid chicken egg question, and in
it's
totality,
always a chicken egg. Did the creator come that by its fields the creator's space, but was there a space that the creator could manifest himself in it?
Yes.
This question we answer one day. It's not unknown.
It's not unknown?
It's not unknown, but to man it's unknown.
But, you know, this is really so crucial. But you think we're not ready yet?
Let me explain to you something that may lead to future teaching. Thank you very much for bringing this question.
Thank you.
Did the space of the womb of the mother existed? Or did, because of the interaction of two fields, the womb became the space for life?
So the second option seems more true to me.
But who made that womb?
Yes.
Well, who made that womb? The space. If you put egg and the sperm in a tube and put it on a table, they die. You put it in a test tube, create a condition, you give it life. Is there a need for a womb, or it just needs for the environment for the fields to manifest themselves?
I think it just needs the environment, and the womb is one very good environment.
Then you know how the children of Mita will be created.
Yes. And is it the same with soul? Because you say our soul, the field strength sort of our soul decides which body we can have. But on the other hand, you say that the matter creates the condition for the soul to exist.
I answer this question for you next week.
Good, thank you.
Because if you understand the teaching of next week, half of the riddle of the creation, for those who understand it, will be solved.
I'm looking forward to next week then.
Thank you very much. You got to understand, you cannot just put everything on the table, blup. You have to make the table ready that they enjoy that blup.
Yes, but there must be some people who are not.
Time will tell. Time will tell. Not everybody needs to understand everything.
That's my be true.
Yeah. They say ignorance sometimes is bliss. But man has been ignorant for too long to be blessed. So it needs time to understand, it needs time to evolve.
So I think this is the true thing about Buddhism. They say that ignorance is one of the four
biggest gifts.
No, because obstacles to enlightenment.
Yes, but it's one of the biggest gifts. Because when you ignore it, you can assume anything.
Yeah.
I call this the principle of Einstein. Dismiss,
Crook
ignore,
principle, probably.
dismiss, ignore, and then just write E is equal to MC squared. What about the rest side? He was the biggest crook in the world of the, what do you call it, dismiss everything till what I want to show you. You understand? So
Yes.
if you become dismissive and you ignore it and become, what do you call it, dismissive about the things, you can say whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get enough people to accept it, it's the next step of ignorance the same. There is a structure in the world of religion do the same.
Yes.
They dismiss everything till the one is them.
Mm-hmm.
I had a very interesting experience in the past few weeks. There is a fight in certain part of the Christianity, and I'm sure is in the rest of the world, that to become the priest of a church, because once you become a head priest, you can steal what you like.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody's there to ask questions, and you never question the integrity of the God's chosen one, which is called the priest in the church. And funny enough, I asked the question is that how the priest before becomes the head of the church lived in a little rented house, and in 2 years' time he has a Mercedes in his car park in the garage, because we passed it. And he lives in one of the most expensive houses because he bought it.
Mm-hmm.
Did the God buy or the ignorance of the man? Putting the money in the pot.
So if entities can be created by us, by being creative, then this God and the ignorance of people must be the same.
Yep. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
People weakness in understanding themselves allows the others to do. This is part of the teaching of that's why we teach so openly in the Keshe Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
You can put your head under the water. It doesn't mean that there is no shooters outside.
Yes.
You decide to be the duck. And that's what mankind does, because when you cannot understand. We've been brought up this way.
But you cannot do that too long unless you drown, So
Somewhere
one day
down the
you have
line
to
you're
get
done.
your head up.
You can live yourself. It says, my wish is my command. You can physically live on this planet 300, 400, 500, 1,000 years in a physical body. Has been done. We know people live 200, 300 years. But it has to be a wish. What's the purpose? Well, there's no purpose just to be another animal on the planet. You can physically, even today, you can, if your soul, if your wish is to extend your physical life to hundreds of years, you can do. But you have to have that wish, and you have to see the productivity and use of it. There is a survey out recently, scientific research, that if you pass 65, your chance of reaching 65 today is marginal. But if you pass 65 to 85, your chances are 50% now.
Wow.
And if you passed 85, your chance of survival to 110 sits at 30% today.
So did you plan so?
What do you mean?
Did you plan to stay a bit longer this time?
I don't decide. They decided they tried to poison me. All sorts of things has happened to me, as you know, and part of it you don't know. Yeah, but the time is set. I have no say in it. I know the time, the place. Very recently, I just accidentally fell nearly 2 meters.
Ooh.
Down on series of stairs, plop, 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 plop. And I was on the floor. It was just accidental. The step was not there, which was supposed to be. It was the builders or something. And the people around me, they waited to see if I'm dead or alive. And I was lying there, taking my toe, not saying a word. Oh, the toe moves. No, the arm moves. Can I move my hip? No, the movement. This took about 5 minutes because the fall was amazing.
Cool.
And then I noticed something happened, and then I could hear them. The one was shouting, don't touch anything else. I said, I'm okay. Just let me get up. And I got up. And I went to see one of my doctors. And he said, you know how lucky are you alive? I said, why? She said to me, you see this? Anybody takes this fall dies. It's natural process in the body. Half of the people in car crashes die because of this. I said, he chooses when I go, not me. Even man makes mistakes and dropping me. And our time is not there. It's chosen. The time, the place. We still got the mission to complete.
So, but you say the time is chosen, but still you say, I can change this chosen time.
You humans can, we can't. It's like a classroom. I have another class to go to teach.
Ah. Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
Yes, if you could address the question from Stefania in our chat. I know this came up before. I'm not sure if we answered it correctly or whatever, but she says, I'm writing a book of stories for children in which I have eliminated fear, illness, lies, and other evils. The story develops in the flow of love, in the flow of plasma, according to the teachings of Grabavoy and Mr. Keshe. Question, how do you recommend I realize a plasmatization of this book? I'm thinking of a child with ADHD or autism holding this book in their hands. I want it to convey peace, joy, trust, not only through the text, but also through the fields of the pages. So, just a minute.
You have to decide. Books are printed. Books are read online. How do you carry the soul? By words. That the medium is irrelevant. New ways of writing you have to find.
But what about the impregnating the pages of the book with ganzas or some other?
That's what I said. What about the girl with child who listens to it as a medium? You know, one of the most popular things in the world at the moment is the stories which children listen before you go to sleep. It used to be cassettes, if you remember, then they came the CETs. Now you walk through the supermarkets, you see little statues hanging in toy grounds in the section of the toys. If you're not in that, what they call it, if you observe it, they're little statues. And they charge 20, 30 euro for these little statues. These statues have a little box. When you put a statue on top of the box, it gives you the story of Cinderella and everything else with it. And you change it with another, and it tells you what God knows, or Superman or whatever. And this company has become one of the biggest companies in child media, what do you call it, entertainment in the world level. And how do you carry the information and emotion in that? This piece of plastic has a bit of recording data which transfers to the speaker of the box. You have to carry the emotion in the essence of the word, the emotion in the essence of the writing. It has more effect than in ink or plastic. You have to find a way to let them feel the emotion and write it with the emotion that has no pen. We write words, but we can put words which within this emotion, doesn't matter what media you put it in. So you try to find out how and which way you can do it. You read the book. A lot of our children now, there's even adults, don't read books anymore. We buy these little notes and you read it on a computer. And the server is another part of the world and you just download it as it is. How do you convey? You have to find the strength of the emotion in writing, in the word that it writes. The technology is getting developed that is very advanced, that you go to Grok or you go to AI and you say, AI, what's this? The new AIs, which is getting developed very rapidly, it just takes your emotion. What you think, converts it to another word, to a fields, and transfer the fields to AI, and AI answers back to the fields, and you get enlightened. This is getting developed. It's not a fairy tale. Number of companies are working on it. But the only problem they have is the intention. What is the intention of AI giving you that piece of information, not that other one? And you move into that realm of actually moving it, actually getting into it, actually fundamentally changing it through emotion. It has no pen. KF Foundation is working on this. We most probably in next few weeks bend the emotion to what we want, because we are building the system for it.
Okay, speaking of emotion, we have a question from Carlos from the Brazilian community through Cristiano. And it's also posted in the YouTube as well as in our Q&A here. The question is, good morning, Mr. Keshe. What happens when sons have been ignored by their parents in their opinions and advices? How to overcome the bad memories sons have of their own parents and brothers?
Not much you can do. When you get to that point, just elevate it. Especially when it comes to parents and brothers and sisters or whatever. We chose to see an event the way we wanted. And depends what was our position in respect to that person. Could have been a good intention. He was doing something funny. But because your point of view was different, that was a bad thing to do. I was talking to someone yesterday, the day before, about my brother. I had so much fun with this guy. It's nearly 20 years he's gone. That it was impossible, absolutely impossible to get angry with him. And when he used to get stressed, it used to be a point of joy to de-stress him. And we used to work together, we used to do a lot of things together. What he saw as I'm doing it wrong, I used to turn it around as something which made sense to him. And it was the same. I had a brother, a partner, a friend, advisor, everything in one package. I didn't need anybody else. And we used to do this a lot. When it was a point you see as a conflict or something you don't understand they're doing wrong, look at their point of view or change the position to what they see. They come around. And we have to judge ourselves more than judging them. And if it doesn't come to our judgment, just pray for them. They'll work, they'll come to it itself. And when they see it your way or when you see their way, there is no conflict. It's just you have to understand the maturity and their way. Especially especially with brothers, is something different. Parents have their own way. Centuries back, their accumulation of what you call their own childhood, their own upbringing. But brothers are somebody, or sisters or somebody, you've been brought up in the same environment, more or less. Even you see injustices or whatever. But if you overlook it, I mean, it just passes that way. And I don't have a single bad memory with my brother. Because we both chose that way. Condition was to overlook or to understand each other's problem. Now, why I don't understand it? Born in the same place, we went to the school together, we went to the same high school, we moved in England, we lived in the same house, and to the last minute of his breath, it was the same. Being there by soul doesn't mean you're not there physicality, but you have to understand it. There's nothing more precious than the brother, if you're a man. And why you create conflict, you understand his point and you try to understand what is your point you're seeking to. Parents are something different. They live in their own cage of their own doing. And you always elevate their soul. I used to have fun with my brother. In everything he did wrong, I put it right. And my mother used to say, you're the worst enemy for him because you cover him. You cover his problems. You cover his. And I said, Mom, doesn't it cover mine? And my mom always said, you two are disaster. And nobody knows what you two are up to. Because even we had a point of discussions. It was there to enjoy both. You gain strength if you understand the other side's emotion and thinking, then seeing it as a fault and problem. What is your problem when it comes to your brother or your sister or your parents? Doesn't fit. Show them and live your life. They will see it one way down the line, but they don't need to do anything. To me, brothers are sacrosanct. And if there is a problem, you have to understand what's your problem. You don't understand them, pray for them. They'll come around to it. And if you see your God all the time, then you have a problem. I was in my early 20s. I bought the first four-wheel drive ever came out on this planet, called Quattro, Audi Quattro. Those days was one of the top sports fashion car you could ever have. I bought a limited range, and numbers came out in Europe. And my brother came, and for me, what I had was his. I never looked at it any other way. I was in a building downstairs, and I saw him coming, tickling, white face. I looked at him, he looked at me, because he just took the car from me. The car was not even 2 or 3 weeks old, just new in the European scene. And I looked at him, I said, "You crashed the car, didn't you?" He said, "How do you know?" I said, "Your face told me." He said, I said, "I'm sorry, that's why we insured it. Let's go and see you're safe." He said, "But the car is halfway bent in the middle." I said, "Doesn't matter. You're safe, that's all that counts." He said, "You're not angry." I said, "Why should I be? You're my life. That's money, that's a car, we get it replaced." Otherwise, if it was you, you go, "Wow, I bought the car." No. You have to understand, if the love of a brother is more valued than the car, then you find your own fault, not his. Any other question?
Well, we have a hand up with Mehran here, so I'd like her to go ahead. Please unmute your mic there, Mehran, and go ahead. We have the unmuted mic, but we still don't hear you, Mehran.
Just speaking through her soul.
There we go. Go ahead.
Just now I don't hear because it's okay. Hello.
Hi, Mehran. How are you?
Thank you. Better now. Better these
Sure.
days. Thank you for all you do for us, humanity. And my question was that first, when you talked about the virus in space, if I imagine that the creation is a body and it has its own defensive system, it's a perfect organism, how could they not take care of this virus? And then is it bad for us, humanity, or soul, or our physicality? Or is it bad for all beings in our universe? And that's
It has a good and bad. It depends which part you want to look at it. What does that virus bring to us as energy? And what that virus take from us that is danger to us? If you look at the energy pattern, somehow everything is connected to each other in the dimension of the fields. And so viruses are the same. It's like we take certain things, they call it biotic nowadays, for your stomach. We introduce germ into it because we damage it with eating something wrong. Very fashionable nowadays. You go to supermarkets, you have biotic drinks to replenish yours. In olden days, our ancestors used to brought the cabbage and biotics was done, all the pickles we eat is part of that biotic structure. But on the other hand, the same germ slightly oriented can kill us. It's the same with the viruses, it's the energy packs. And what we accept through emotion from them. And so not every virus is bad, but even a bad virus is what things they give us. It's very controversial, depends which side of the fence you sit.
Well, I don't worry very much because I'm part of the whole thing. I take whatever happens.
Yeah, but the viruses are not all bad, and even the bad ones do some good things because they manage to connect to us. To connecting means we shared something with them. There is a test going on, it's been going for decades, that they tell you if you change your emotion and stick to your emotion, hundreds of meters away, people around you feel your emotion. But you have to know how to control it. There is a system which now is going through a lot of tests around the world with different universities, which allow you or allow them to measure emotion hundreds of meters away. If you remember, bless his soul, John, years ago, moved with a thing outside meters, tens of meters, I remember, and he could still feel their fields. And the system was inside the building. This is part of our life. What emotion we create and what we give for it, and we call it a virus. Oh, your emotion is the biggest virus in the universe. Have you started by laughing? And you see other people laugh with you, even though they don't know what you're laughing for?
And another question, thank you, is how much my humbleness affects my personal physicality, soul, inertia.
What is humbleness to you could be arrogance to the others. And then depends what you create with that.
Okay, thank you.
It's we think we're humble. I was talking to some people recently and say, you're the most arrogant person we ever come across. So why? They said to me, you think you're humble, you share everything, whatever. But have you seen yourself? Because of your humbleness, you become too arrogant. I said, I don't become arrogant. I share my thoughts. Yeah, but you share everything else, and because they see it the way you want to see them to see it, then you become arrogant for it. I said, no, I don't. It's not arrogance. It's understanding my point of view without what I call tainted emotion. It's the facts, it's there. And if it's there, it's a life experience. You don't need to listen to it. You think. When I work with the management of the Keshe Foundation, I always said, this is my opinion. You think. You discuss amongst each other and see what suits you better. It's not arrogance, it's just mean we are building a space center, and this space center is extremely tough. It has a lot of problems, a lot of things. And I work with a young team. They respect, okay, Mr. Keshe, he's setting it up, blah, blah. And we had other discussion in the past few days. And I said, this is my opinion. You discuss it among yourself. What suits you, what is good for the foundation, you decide. and it happens on daily basis right across Keshe Foundation. It's not just because, oh, if anybody was like me, I own the foundation, I say you do. No. One of the things to do with research center, because there's so many different sections of this thing, is huge. Building a space center, it's every part of it is becoming a point of understanding, and then you have a young management team and from different cultures and different aspects. They all have to understand each other. It's not very easy. When we planned, we discussed something that we do something on one floor. My idea was to do it on one floor, and when we came to the discussion point, and they're on the line, most probably they listen, they know exactly what I'm talking about. My idea was to use one floor for a certain thing, and one of the management team guys says, "Why don't we use the other floor?" I said, "What do you mean?" I never thought of moving. He says, "Upstairs on that floor there is this." I said, "You know something, we're in the discussion today. Get up there, all of you, and then in the next couple of days, because you have a point. It's just because I run the foundation or structure there doesn't mean my word is the last word. You have a point, we move up, we'll have a look." And we reorganized it, we gathered later on during the week there, and he was right. He has a very beautiful, valid point. And I said to him, "Now you decide. This is what it is. If you think it's good," and we all agreed that it's the way to do it. It doesn't come out arrogance. It's just being part of and allowing other people to enjoy your knowledge and add their knowledge into it. And it's the same I always say to the top management of the Keshe Foundation. You are just the guardians. Learn and bring younger one, that when you are ready to go, you're there to support. We structure the same thing with the UC and UCM, Universal Council and member of Universal Council. When you become 60, you go step to the Universal Council members, but you still have the same say or putting input in. We will launch the UCM and Earth Council very soon. It's getting structured in the background. And restructuring the Universal Council and Earth Council, they'll be placed in Switzerland. And I'm working on it, that they become the owner and guardians of the Keshe Foundation International. Once I finish the setting up of the Universal Council as a company and the Earth Council as a company in Switzerland, they become the thinking arms, but they will not become the acting part. We take the control out of the hand of the United Nations, the shares of what decision making. And the members of the Council are to give the life support with thoughts and the guardianship, and the physical management is to carry it out. And then the carrying it out is what happens to like a space center and other things around the world. And then two companies, that will become two trusts. Keshe Foundation, Universal Council as a trust, and the Earth Council as a trust, will run as a trust the whole of the Keshe Foundation structure. We're not transfer everything into the hand of the Keshe Foundation. And they have no say who gets what. They carry their emotion, and we'll ask for new members of the Universal Council to volunteer to be part of it, because they decide the future of humanity. And the Earth Council decides how. One, the Universal Council is the soul, and the Earth Council is the, what I call the spirit. The humanity is the structure to shape it. And it comes through the soul of you, and what the rest will accept as. No blind following, just because I say so. accepting the energies of it. Like that, the story. Doesn't matter if it's in the plastic or the hard copy, the essence of the emotion. Any other question?
Yes, thank you. I have another question if you have time,
No problem.
please. Everybody have time. This idea of uh, okay, we call it Satan. You gave the proposition that it could be because of the inclination of the orbit of the planet, which is not straight, so it creates this angle which makes the difference in season and uh, choices of humanity. And the other one can be power, that power uh, invites Satan or some beings or feelings. And the other one can again be our um, mental or sort of physicality that brings these beings or emotions that kind of like fall of human by Adam and Eve, that something overcame them to them that God threw them away symbolically.
Uh,
So what is that thing that we know our enemy more efficiently and be clear about it?
you
I mean, as far as
see, the man has chosen too many words for the same conduct, the same thing. And why do we create these words? It's because of our own weakness inside. Our fears are our Satans. Our fears, lack of understanding becomes our own enemy. And if you manage to convince the others of the same, so you make it to be accepted by the others. And then it becomes a ritual with it. Either way, I always said, and something I believe in, our sentience is our own ignorance. And when I was in Africa, in Ghana, this guy said, in Ghanaian culture, they can put a key on you, they can lock you, and then they change your life and everything else. He said, if you believe in it, they do it on you. Then they're Satans, the devil worshippers and the rest of it. So if you don't believe it, they can believe whatever they like to do. It's us which allow creation of these words and these lines of thinking.
yes, thank you very much. So
Yes,
it's dangerous. It's dangerous when people of power they let these things get into them.
oh, it's just all sorts. The 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 our own ego becomes our own Satan. And if we accept other people's ego, the others will call it the same. We allow these things to be accepted by us. It's like you see children, you can allow them, teach them to walk in the dark, like they walk in the day. Or you frighten them, the dark is something, you don't do that, and they won't go anywhere. It's how you perceive and how you perceive.
Yeah.
This is what we've come to believe. Yeah, something, you call it darkness, you call it Satan, whatever, yeah? Get your grandchildren or encourage your children to walk with you in the dark. What they fear most. And then to play hide and seek in the dark. It becomes fun. They say, can we play hide and seek in the dark? where darkness was the worst thing to them, they were the biggest fear. And then you see the whole dimension of thinking for them changes. I'm playing hide and seek even as adult in the dark and see if it's the same as playing hide and seek in the light. And it's the same darkness we create for ourselves, because there's more fun in the darkness, because it's actually brighter than outside. Your eyes gets used to it. Your senses grows deeper. You look for every breath, every move, it's a fun. And you create your own Satan because of your understanding.
Yes. And they say that lack of God, lack of light of Creator is what is Satan. When there is
The
darkness
light
and
of
not
God
light.
is the knowledge. Light of God is not the light you see.
Yes.
It's the knowledge. If you understand the knowledge of creation, you have no darkness in your, there's no gap in your knowledge, or you try to understand it, then you don't make something out of it, it becomes Satan because it's against what you understand. We create our own Satans due to our own lack of understanding.
And, you know, of course, there are people who don't have knowledge, academic knowledge.
This is what I don't understand. Did your grandfather went to university? Did your great-grandfather or mother went to cooking class? No. We have made this to block others to be. You don't need to be a doctor to understand the work of the universe.
Okay.
So you understand. This knowledge and education. You have to have a degree of whatever. It's become forced on us to control. Our fathers, our grandfathers didn't have any. They didn't go to a classroom. They didn't go to universities, but they ran this world. They knew this world like a back of their hand. They knew where to travel, what day to travel. They could forecast the weather and everything else. They didn't have to have everything which we are forced to accept. If you have education, you understand. I always say education with a man is like those blinds you put on the horses. And it's, concaved in. It's like a funnel. The more educated you become, you think academically, the narrower that hole becomes, and you become more arrogant because of that little hole you see. This is how life is. We become the education has become the biggest stronghold on man's opening to knowledge and science of creation. I'm an electrical engineer. So you don't understand how you pump the water. You don't understand how the shower on your head works. There's no electric current in the shower. The worst thing is, man, is since the academic education started. And the beauty of it is with this internet, it's just getting thrown to the wall. People are educating themselves in the way they enjoy. It's a gift. Any other questions? Thank you very much, man.
Thank you very much. God
Thank you very
bless you.
much. Should we call it a day, or do you have anything else?
If you could answer one more question for us here with Gail, who reminded me that her question is carried over from last week. She says, thank you for today's teaching. In book 2, is the bending of light really continuous maglev positioning in response to different inertia conditions the light is passing through, such as light traveling by a star?
You got to understand there are two dimensions in the light. There is light when it manifests itself, when there's a light as an energy, and both can be bent. We have developed the technology for it. Now I can show first layer of creator light and bend it as much till it becomes gold. We are building this machine. This is going through its test phases. What you saw exactly a year ago, 10, 11, 12 of May in Beijing, is obsolete. No moving part. Understanding the motion of light and the energy of it in the cosmic ray dimension and handling it in that dimension than in the matter state. And then you have a problem. If you don't understand, you don't bend light in its matter dimension, you bend light in the energy, and then you decide to manifest itself in the visible light. And now I have just taught knowledge seekers, and the machine is getting built already. But you have to understand the essence of the creation. The light of the creator doesn't come as a light to us as a star. It comes as an energy and then we convert it into matter. And you have to understand how that process is done. For the first time I have taught knowledge is getting process to be done. I put the box in front of you. On one side I make gold, on the other side I make water, on the other side I make you cry with the emotion, and on the other side I make you to see the Christ. And you tell me which light is what. But all from the same source. The knowledge, the technology for it is already getting developed and is developed. But you have to understand how and what it means. You have to have a deep knowledge of cosmic technology. And then we are messengers of the Creator. We just play with the hand of the child till the child understands. Our knowledge is so deep that it baffles even the Creator how we gather this knowledge for him. See you next week. Thank you very much for being here. Those of you who paid to be in tomorrow, last week's session, which is tomorrow, if you're not there this time, we carry on without you. And thank you very much for your donation. It's not refundable. It's Keshe Foundation. We need it to expand our research centers. And please don't forget, we need a lot of support. We need millions to bring the humanity into it. It doesn't matter if you can create gold. See you next week, and have a beautiful day.
All right, great. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you. All right, well, that completes another Knowledge Seekers Workshop, number 641 in the continuous weekly series. And thank you, everyone, for being here today and witnessing and experiencing the workshop. And we expect to be here next week at the same time and place. Our next public teaching workshop, just let me have a look at my calendar here. I thought so. We have already the public meeting for testimonials coming up on Monday, May 11th. And that will start at the 8 p.m. Central European Summer Time. And it's open to anyone that would like to give a testimonial of their experience with the plasma technology, whether it's something in the physicality or something on the energy level. And just let folks know through your sharing about that experience. And again, that's on Monday, the 11th, public meeting for testimonials, starting at 8 p.m. Central European Summertime. And then on Tuesday, we have the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace. I believe that'll be show number 430 in a continuous weekly broadcast. And so before we go, I've got a thing to read from the Universal Council through Lissy. And oops, just let me get that placed here so we can have a look at it. And it goes, we, the Universal Council, invite the Keshe and Universal family present on the earth in unifying at the soul level every time, every day at 9 p.m. Central European Summertime. We, the Universal Council, give freely our souls and invite all of humanity to elevate the soul of every leader in every nation to work as one soul in one direction to achieve peace as one nation, one planet, one race. Okay, thank you, Lissy, for that communication. And I believe that's it. If there's any questions left over from this week, you can bring them over until for next week's questions. And a big thank you again to Mr. Keshe for being here and continuing to develop and progress with the plasma knowledge. And yeah, I think that's it for now. So we'll go out in our usual manner with the Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit. Bye for now, everyone, and see you next time around.